back.
Hey guys, just finished watching Black Lightning, Season 2, Episode 13, Book of Secrets, Chapter 3, Pillar of Fire. Wow, what an episode this one was. It was a bit of a slower burn, this episode. This show is a bit more of a slower burn. And we also don't have, we're going on a 2-week break with almost all of these CW shows. Pretty much all of them have a break, so we're not back till like March, I think March 4th or something like that, it's like the next one, which is kind of disappointing. I don't know why they all have to go on break like this at the same time. But, oh well, I can't think of any reasons. I mean, it made sense for Supergirl last week, because it was Super Bowl and stuff. They obviously would be losing viewerships to that, so just pause it, right? But when this is not on the Super Bowl or anything like that, so I don't know, I guess it's they're taking a break. But we start off this episode, and the first thing is pretty much a WTF moment. Like, Gambi has, and it was in the trailer, I don't know why I didn't think of it for the trailer, but Gambi has this giant box, this circular box thing he has Jennifer in, and she's kind of using her powers to test how powerful it is. And they say, like, oh, go 50% strength. She has no idea how to control her powers. She's just barely controlling them, you know? She's not really fully in tune to her powers just yet. So, 50% strength, she doesn't know how to just go 50% strength or anything like that. So it was just kind of a bit silly. It's like, how the hell is he able to afford any of this stuff, like all this equipment? You never explain how he's able to afford this, and he always has too many skills for every situation. He always has, and it's just like he has an answer for everything, any problem. Oh, Gambi has some either skill or tech to do it, and it just drives me crazy. I mean, a machine like this, what the hell is it used for other than built specifically for testing people's powers? Now, maybe he had built it himself, to test Black Lightning's powers and stuff, but where the hell did he get the money and the time to build this, and it just drives me crazy that all he does is do his work be the Alfred of the show. We never see him actually making any money working in the suit, or maybe sometimes people shows up and he has to send clients away. That would be interesting, is if every time someone went down there, came into their Batcave, their secret hideout underneath the store, is if someone showed up, he got a little notification right there on his phone, and then he had to make an excuse and then always send away customers and stuff, and he's dealing with the problems of customers getting interrupted in the middle of their purchase, him trying to sell it to them and stuff, and or he just finishes the transaction, and then as people, I think that would be interesting to see as to how the hell he's able to pay for any of this. We see Lynn ends up agreeing to move the pods once she's told about Markovia and how they got some metahumans and they're trying to make a metahuman army and stuff. So that's kind of interesting. We see Tobias Wales ends up waking up one of his pod kids who's been in the pods for 30 years, 25 years actually, they say, and no atrophy. The guy just comes right out. Maybe they're superhuman, they're all that stuff, but they're still basically human. They're humans that were turned into metahumans. They weren't born into Inhumans or mutants or anything like that. But it's just like, it doesn't make sense that they would not have atrophy. And later on, we do even see when Lynn ends up waking one of them up, doesn't have quite an atrophy, but very weak, very slow to wake up. Now, it could be the difference between how Tobias woke them up and how Lynn woke him up. Lynn would have woken them up slowly, and then he would have had some sort of, some sort of adrenaline in that drug to kind of wake him up fast and stuff. But it was just kind of weird that, convenient that the bad guy's suit meta can instantly do whatever he wants, and the one that Lynn woke up is kind of weak and stuff. It doesn't make any sense of the inconsistencies. It would have been interesting to know, okay, this guy's been in there for 25 years, and how long has this one been? If there had been a mention that she's only been in there for 5 years, then like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But if she's similar, she should have been there for like 20, 30 years, right? So it just doesn't make sense there. We see Jefferson, he might get his old job back, so that was kind of like, oh, I don't know, but I knew that wasn't really going to go anywhere, because what's the point of taking away his job only to give it back to him before the end of the season? So I think that was kind of, it didn't really have any weight to it until later on. We see Jennifer ends up going after Tobias. That doesn't really work out. She goes after a few gangbangers, lightnings them, and then passes out, and Thunder has to save her. So that's really all that happens there. It looked like it was just kind of shots for the trailer, really. It really didn't go anywhere. Nothing really happened, and her parents didn't even find out about it. And maybe they will in the next episode, but they didn't even find out about it here to have any kind of repercussions to her just going out all half-cocked and just kind of blindly fighting, right? see Gamby ends up finding, and one of the biggest things here is Gamby finds out that Grace and his girlfriend is actually a fake ID, and I think that's really interesting. He finds out all about it, and that she was involved in sex. She was abducted into sex trafficking and all this kind of stuff, and like that's really going to be interesting to see. And they kind of just blow over it. He drops all this information about her, and then it never goes anywhere, and then nothing ever happens with it. So hopefully we get to play with it sooner rather than later, or maybe even save it for next season since we're getting to the end now. It really don't want to focus too much on that to kind of waste our time with that storyline. I'd rather play with that, save that for the next storyline in season 3. If I'm not mistaken, we've already been confirmed for season 3, and then we can really dive deeper into it. Because if we go into it right now, into Grace's storyline, I feel like it's just going to be a bit rushed and stuff because we only have a few more episodes left, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. IMDb says we have about 16 episodes left, so we're up to episode 16. So yeah, we only have 3 episodes left after this one. So really, we're probably not going to be touching at all on the Grace thing. We might see Jennifer find a phone number and leave her a voicemail or something. But I think other than that, we're probably going to deal with it in the next season. So we see Jefferson ends up defending Lowry. I obviously knew that was coming. There was just I knew that was going to come before it happened because it's like I said, he just lost the job. We're not going to re-give him his job as the principal. There would have been no point of taking it away in the first place. And I kind of think that's going to be. I think it was an interesting idea, just kind of because it was predictable, and then the little speech that Lowry said in him and just in passing. It really did make an impact. I think the one he did last episode where he talked about how people assume that he's had everything good just because he's white and all that stuff, and he's actually had a terrible childhood with a drug dealer mother and all things like that. I think that was a little bit more interesting, and I think something like that could have happened here, and just they should have expanded that scene a little bit more with Mike Lowry and just give him a little bit longer speech to convince. For him kind of defending himself to Jefferson rather than just kind of 1 or 2 lines. It was just kind of very forgetful and doesn't really it didn't seem like it made enough impact for Jefferson to not want to take over, not wanting to get his job back, because he's busy being Black Lightning, but Black Lightning so far hasn't really taken up too much of his time. It did a little bit here and there in the first season, but that was it. It was just those moments. It hasn't been kind of constantly getting in his way. He hasn't been kind of, interrupting his class time or anything like that. So it's just it just seems a bit weird why he wouldn't want to just get his job back. And Mike Lowry didn't really defend himself well when he tried to just defend himself to Jefferson. So we end this episode with Tobias Wales pretty much getting all the kids from the ASA in the pod. So all the pod kids that Lynn was working on, Tobias sends Cutter and his the meta that he woke up to go after and take them, and he ends up getting hold of all of them except for the one girl that Lynn had already, was already kind of waking up and stuff. So I think that's going to be interesting to see as to where things go there. There's also a lot of talk here about Jennifer, how she could explode and stuff, and I think that could be something interesting to see as to where things go with that. Is if maybe the season, if they knew they had a season 3 and they knew they could leave a huge cliffhanger, it would be interesting to have a cliffhanger being her literally exploding and then just explode and mid-explosion cut, and that's where we end the season. Wait until season 3. I think that would be a massive, interesting cliffhanger, especially for her to kind of get her comic book accurate look type thing. I mean, look, we do know there's going to be a costume because they posted it on their Instagram months ago. So that's kind of unfortunate that they spoiled that. But to see her in the comics, she kind of has like she doesn't really wear a costume. She's more like Human Torch type thing, where she lights up and she's completely on fire type thing. So I think that could be something interesting. I'm not sure. I don't know much about her from the comics, but not sure if she's able to turn it off or not, or if she's kind of stuck like that, kind of like Ben Grimm the Thing. But I think it could be something interesting to build up, and maybe in next season, after this season, maybe she does explode, and from then on her powers kind of change, and whenever she activates her powers, her full body becomes kind of like lightning and all the time, and then she has to turn it off. She can't use her powers without doing that, so there's no more kind of secretly using her powers. It's just kind of full power. She's kind of having too much energy, and I think that could be something interesting to see, just a kind of an evolution into her powers and stuff. So I think it could be fun to see. So all in all, I can't wait to see as to where things go with this. Like I said, some of this episode was kind of interesting. It just set up a lot, but it was kind of a bit of a slower episode. Nothing really big happened in here, other than Tobias getting the pod kids. But it's not really like not a memorable episode whatsoever. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. Season 2, episode 13 of Black Lightning. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes it's the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.